The headline alone sent the internet into meltdown. K-pop demon hunters exposed. Did Kendrick Lamar really inspire Netflix's biggest hit? Nobody saw it coming. Nobody expected to completely different worlds: K-pop's glossy perfection and Kendrick Lamar's raw, poetic storytelling to collide in such a scandalous, almost unbelievable way. But late-night leaks, cryptic interviews, and whispers from anonymous insiders have painted a picture so shocking, so insane, that fans are questioning everything they thought they knew about Netflix's newest global obsession. It all started when a grainy screenshot surfaced on Twitter. A supposed insider email from someone tied to the Netflix production suggested that the original concept for K-pop, Demon Hunters, wasn't born in Korea at all. Instead, it was allegedly inspired by an unreleased pitch deck floating around Los Angeles, one said to be heavily influenced by the lyrical themes and visual concepts of none other than Kendrick Lamar himself. The email didn't hold back. It claimed that producers borrowed Kendrick's recurring themes of inner demons, generational curses, and social rebellion, then repackaged them under the shiny, neon idol-driven aesthetic of K-pop. Same skeleton, new outfit, the message read, "If you know Kendrick's work, you can see it everywhere." The internet erupted. Fans who had binged the entire season overnight began dissecting every frame, every lyric, every battle sequence. Threads popped up instantly. Wait, this scene is literally DNA in anime form. Others pointed out uncanny similarities between the show's dialogue and Kendrick's iconic lines. "I got loyalty. Got royalty inside my DNA" versus the hunters screaming about ancestral loyalty as they face their demonic foes. Coincidence? Or calculated theft? Meanwhile, K-pop fans were furious. They accused Western media of trying to discredit a masterpiece. "Stop dragging Kendrick into this. Our idols don't need him to be brilliant," one fan tweeted. But hip-hop heads clapped back immediately. "You mean to tell me those demon sequences weren't ripped straight from Kendrick's visuals? Wake up." And just when it seemed like this might stay an online conspiracy theory, the plot thickened. At 2:47 a.m., the cursed time that always seems to accompany Scandal's blurry TikTok video leaked. In it, a man claiming to be a Netflix staffer said, "You think this is just K-pop? Nah. The original Bible for the show was passed around Hollywood for years. And guess whose name was scribbled in the margins? K. Dot." The internet froze. Scribbled in the margins. K. Dot. Was this the smoking gun? Suddenly, people weren't asking if Kendrick inspired it. They were asking how much he actually knew. Did Kendrick Lamar himself unknowingly hand Netflix the blueprint for their biggest hit? Or was he betrayed by insiders, his creative DNA repackaged into something he never signed off on? And the scariest question of all, if Kendrick decides to speak up, does Netflix's crown jewel collapse overnight? The whispers only got louder. What started as a single blurry screenshot had now spiraled into a storm that even Netflix couldn't control. Everywhere you looked, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, people were dissecting K-pop demon hunters like it was a crime scene. And the evidence they claimed to find, it was damning. On Reddit, one viral post compared side-by-side frames of the anime's neon-lit demon fight scenes with Kendrick Lamar's humble music video. The user wrote, "Look at the lighting. Look at the symbolism. You're telling me this isn't ripped straight out of Kendrick's vision?" The comments exploded. Some agreed instantly, this is too close to be coincidence. Others fought back. Lighting doesn't belong to Kendrick. Y'all reaching. But the more people compared, the more uncomfortable it looked. Then came the DNA theory. TikTok detectives pieced together that the show's entire storyline, hunters bound by blood, battling inherited demons of their ancestors, coded Kendrick's obsession with DNA, ancestry, and generational trauma. One viral edit lined up the chorus of DNA. with the anime's battle chant, and the match was eerie. Millions watched it on loop. Meanwhile, insiders began adding fuel. An anonymous Twitter account dropped a cryptic post. The first draft of this show didn't have idols. It had poets. That line alone was enough to send fans spiraling. Was the original pitch really centered around spoken word and rap battles instead of K-pop dance numbers? Did someone take Kendrick's creative bones and dress them in K-pop glamour to make it more global? And just when fans thought they were done for the night, another leak appeared at 2:47 a.m. A supposed snippet of a production call sheet surfaced online, with the words conceptual reference to Pimp a Butterfly visual metaphor. The internet collapsed. To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick's magnum opus. If that reference was real, it meant producers weren't just inspired by Kendrick. They had literally written his album into the DNA of the show. The debate raged. Some K-pop fans doubled down, furious at the idea their idol's project could be linked to Western theft. Others were shaken, whispering, "What if we've been watching Kendrick's stolen vision this whole time?" And through all of it, Kendrick himself remained silent. No tweets, no statements, just silence. And that silence spoke volumes, because now, the question wasn't just whether Netflix borrowed from Kendrick Lamar. The question was whether Netflix built their biggest global hit on the bones of his artistry. And if Kendrick decides to talk, how much of that empire will crumble overnight? At first, it was just a blurry PDF floating around Discord servers, stamped with the words confidential, do not distribute. Most people thought it was fake, another fan-made attempt to ride the wave of drama. But then verified gossip accounts began posting it, and suddenly the internet realized this wasn't just noise. This was a bomb. The document, allegedly an early pitch deck for K-pop Demon Hunters, listed its conceptual inspirations. Among anime classics and vague phrases like idol culture meets fantasy. One line stood out like a dagger in the dark. Narrative references, Kendrick Lamar themes, inner demons, DNA, generational cycles, generational cycles. The internet lost its collective mind. They actually wrote his name. This isn't inspiration. This is plagiarism. Kendrick is literally the godfather of this anime, and they hid it. Within hours, the hashtag KDOT Demon Hunters was trending worldwide. TikTok edits spliced together. Kendrick's interviews about fighting inner demons, with clips of the anime's main characters screaming about ancestral curses. The parallels were undeniable. But the chaos didn't stop there. A voice memo surfaced, allegedly from someone who worked on the early writing team. In the muffled recording, a man's voice said, "We had Kendrick references all over the board." Everyone knew. It wasn't even subtle. The DNA arc. That came straight out of his work. Fans went feral. If true, it meant Netflix didn't just borrow inspiration, they built their billion-dollar baby on Kendrick's artistry. And then buried his name under mountains of neon, idols, and marketing spin. Meanwhile, K-pop stans went to war with hip-hop heads. Twitter was a battlefield. One side screamed, "Stop dragging our idols. The show is theirs, not Kendrick's." The other side clapped back. "Your whole show exists because of Kendrick." Don't disrespect a legend. Celebrities began weighing in too. A famous rapper tweeted, "If they stole from Dot, that's industry business as usual." A pop star posted an Instagram story with the words, "Demons, DNA. Loyalty sounds familiar." Even anime creators chimed in, some hinting they'd seen this story before. And Netflix? Dead silent. No statements. No clarifications. Just a storm raging without them. Then came the twist no one saw coming. A new leak dropped, this time in the form of an email chain. The messages appeared to show executives arguing over whether Kendrick should be credited in the show's conceptual inspirations. One exec allegedly wrote, "Do not put his name anywhere official." Legal nightmare waiting to happen. The internet froze. If those emails were real, it wasn't just inspiration, it was cover-up. A deliberate, cold decision to erase Kendrick from the story he might have unknowingly birthed. And suddenly, the question shifted. It wasn't just did Kendrick inspire the show. Anymore, it was something far darker. Did Netflix steal Kendrick Lamar's art, then bury his name to protect their empire? The storm only grew darker, just when people thought the scandal couldn't escalate any further. A new wave of leaks hit the internet this time. Kendrick Lamar's name wasn't just whispered in fan theories or buried in a pitch deck. It was front and center at 2:47. And because, of course, it was an anonymous account, dropped. What they called the receipts Netflix doesn't want you to see. Attached were blurry photos of what looked like meeting notes from a private creative session. And scrawled across the top, circled in red ink, was a single name, K. Lamar narrative source. The internet exploded. Y'all lied. He was involved from day one. Kendrick knew about this. If this is real, Netflix is done. But that wasn't the only revelation. Hours later, a journalist from a major entertainment outlet claimed they had spoken to an industry insider who confirmed Kendrick had once been approached by Netflix for an animated project exploring demons, DNA, and ancestry. The insider insisted Kendrick walked away after early talks, but his ideas never left the room. That single line turned the fire into an inferno. Did Netflix take those abandoned ideas and repackage them as K-pop demon hunters? Was Kendrick unknowingly the ghostwriter behind the show's global success? TikTok detectives went feral. Side-by-side edits showed Kendrick's music videos chains fire. Ancestral visions played next to the anime's climactic battle scenes. The resemblance was uncanny. One viral caption read, "Kendrick didn't just inspire this, show he is the show." Celebrities couldn't resist chiming in. A legendary producer tweeted, "This not surprising. Dot's fingerprints been on the culture for years. They just polished it different." Meanwhile, a K-pop idol ES, one actually involved with the Netflix show, posted a cryptic Instagram story. "We all know the truth, just not allowed to say it." Within minutes, the story vanished. The silence from Kendrick only made it worse. No denials, no confirmations, nothing. And fans interpreted that silence in two terrifying ways. Either he was preparing for a legal nuke against Netflix, or he'd known all along. And the erasure of his name was part of a deal nobody was supposed to see. Then came the most chilling leak. Yet, an audio clip of a man's voice. Allegedly an exec tied to the project, saying, "Kendrick's DNA is all over this thing. But credit him. Pay him." Are you insane? We'd lose everything. The internet froze. If this was real, it wasn't just inspiration, it was exploitation. It was theft, buried under contracts and marketing. And just when fans thought they'd hit rock bottom, Jackson Lee, the gossip king who always seems to appear at the darkest moment, lived grinning like he held the world in his hands. He leaned into the camera and whispered, "You think you've seen the leaks. You haven't seen the one Kendrick's team is sitting on? When that drops, Netflix won't just lose a show. They'll lose their crown." The screen went black. The comment section screamed in chaos. Who had the final proof? Was Kendrick about to detonate the entertainment industry? Or was this all smoke, a scandal built on leaks, whispers, and shadows? Nobody knew. But one thing was certain. Netflix's biggest hit now carried the biggest question mark in pop culture. The backlash didn't just ripple through the internet, it split the entertainment world in two. Suddenly, K-pop Demon Hunters wasn't just a show. It was a war. A cultural battlefield where fans, celebrities, critics, and even brands were forced to pick a side. On one end, K-pop stans fought tooth and nail to defend their idols. Twitter timelines were flooded with hashtags like #ProtectTheHunters and #OurIdols, They argued the anime was a triumph of Korean creativity, a project born from years of hard work, not a stolen idea from a rapper halfway across the world. One fan tweeted, "Y'all will not erase K-pop's biggest moment," just to give credit to a man who wasn't even in the room. But hip-hop heads weren't backing down. Their hashtags #Kendrick wrote this and #DNA hit trending lists just as fast. They flooded timelines with side-by-side comparisons, linking Kendrick's lyrics to the anime's dialogue, his music videos to its most iconic visuals. One viral post read, "Netflix owes Kendrick royalties, period. Kendrick royalties, period." TikTok became a digital battleground. Fan edits argued both sides. Dramatic clips of Choi Yuna, the anime's lead character, screaming "Loyalty is my blood," spliced over Kendrick's DNA chorus versus idol-centered montages insisting the show was pure K-pop magic. Millions of comments turned every video into a war zone. This is Kendrick's art in disguise. V's. Stop trying to steal from Korean creatives. Mainstream media dove in with glee. Headlines screamed across the web. Did Kendrick Lamar's lyrics inspire Netflix's demon hit? K-pop meets hip-hop. Global success or cultural theft? Netflix silent as Kendrick's storm grows louder. Talk shows staged debates. Panelists shouted over each other, "This is plagiarism. This is cultural collaboration. No, it's exploitation." Ratings soared as audiences tuned in to watch grown men argue over anime demons at 8 a.m. and the celebrities. They couldn't resist. A famous rapper tweeted, "Funny how y'all just now noticing been ghostwriting the culture." Hours later, a K-pop megastar clapped back, "We don't need to steal. Respect our art." Screenshots of the exchange went viral, fanning the flames. Behind the scenes, the industry was in chaos. Insiders leaked that Netflix executives were panicking, holding emergency meetings with lawyers to prepare for potential claims. A whispered rumor claimed Kendrick's team had already contacted attorneys. Another claimed sponsors tied to the anime were reviewing their contracts, in case the scandal dragged their names into it. And the fans themselves weren't just arguing, they were unraveling. Reddit threads stretched thousands of comments deep. Friendships were breaking in Discord servers. And TikTok live streams featured people crying, screaming, even burning K-pop Demon Hunters merch live on camera. One viral clip showed a girl sobbing, "If Kendrick was erased, I can't support this anymore." Another showed a fan screaming back, "Stop making everything about him." This is OUR culture. The split was complete. This wasn't just an internet fight anymore. It was two armies colliding with Netflix, K-pop idols, and Kendrick Lamar trapped in the middle. And through it all, Kendrick remained silent. No tweets, no statements, no denials. Nothing. His silence became more terrifying with every passing hour. Because silence meant one of two things. Either he was letting the chaos burn for fun, or he was preparing a nuclear truth bomb that would destroy everything in its path. Everyone knew the same thing. The scandal wasn't winding down. It was spiraling toward something bigger, something darker, something no one was ready for. And when the next name dropped, the war would turn into an apocalypse. And just when it seemed the scandal couldn't possibly sink deeper, the ground cracked open beneath it. The final twist didn't come from Netflix, from idols, or from random fan accounts. It came from the one place nobody thought to look. Kendrick's own camp at 3:07 a.m. A mysterious file dropped on a private Discord server and spread like wildfire across Twitter within minutes. The folder was titled Betrayed. Inside were screenshots of emails and half-redacted contracts allegedly tied to Kendrick's team. But the most damning part wasn't what Netflix did, was what someone close to Kendrick may have done to him. One email, if real, showed a representative from Kendrick's circle allegedly sharing narrative concepts with a third party. Months before K-pop Demon Hunters was greenlit. The wording was vague, but the phrase that burned across the internet was unmistakable. Themes of DNA, ancestry, and inner demons could easily be adapted for a global property. The internet erupted. Did someone from Kendrick's own side sell him out? A voice note followed, low quality, muffled but clear enough to send chills. A man's voice, supposedly tied to Dot's inner circle, could be heard saying, "He'll never know. If Netflix runs with it, we just say it was parallel thinking." Easy. Fans lost their minds. No, his own people did this. This isn't just plagiarism, it's betrayal. Wasn't robbed by Netflix. He was robbed by someone standing right next to him. Suddenly, the story mutated. What if Kendrick's silence wasn't strategy but shock? What if the reason he hadn't spoken was because the betrayal came from someone he trusted? Someone who handed his art to the highest bidder. Celebrities chimed in instantly. A Grammy-winning producer tweeted, "Sometimes the snake ain't outside. It's in your circle." Meanwhile, a K-pop idol posted and deleted a single emoji, which only poured gasoline on the fire. Netflix, once again, said nothing. But insiders whispered that executives were scrambling harder than ever. If Kendrick went public not just against them, but against his own camp, then K-pop Demon Hunters could implode overnight. And then, the cliffhanger. Kendrick himself finally broke the silence. Not a statement. Not an interview. Just one Instagram story, black screen, white text. "I know who did it. When I say their name, watch the world burn." The internet froze. Was he talking about Netflix? Was he talking about someone on his team? Was he about to name the Judas in his circle who sold his artistry out from under him? Nobody knew. Nobody slept. The hashtags exploded. Hashtag knows. Hashtag the name drop. Kendrick vs the world. And everyone realized the same terrifying truth: this wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of something much, much bigger. Because if Kendrick really speaks that name out loud, the scandal doesn't just destroy a show. It destroys careers, empires, and trust itself. And the whole world is waiting, terrified for the next word out of his mouth. And now, after everything, the leaks, the whispers, the screenshots, the contracts, the audio clips, the betrayals from every direction, we're left standing at the edge of the fire with one haunting reality. The truth still hasn't been spoken. Think about it. Netflix has stayed dead silent. The K-pop idols attached to the project are posting cryptic hints and deleting them within minutes. Industry insiders keep feeding the blaze with half-truths and shadowy receipts. And Kendrick? He finally spoke, but not with answers. With a threat. "I know who did it. When I say their name, watch the world burn." That silence, those 7 words, that's more terrifying than any leak so far. Because it doesn't just suggest guilt, it promises a reckoning. So now I'm asking you, who do you believe? Do you think Netflix ripped Kendrick's artistry straight out of his DNA and buried his name to protect their empire? Do you think K-pop creatives were simply inspired, unfairly dragged into someone else's mess? Or do you believe the darkest theory of them? All that Kendrick wasn't betrayed by strangers, but by his own people. Someone standing right next to him while they cashed in on his vision. Drop your theory in the comments right now. Don't hold back. Do you think should sue Netflix? Should he call out the Judas in his camp? Or is this whole storm just smoke designed to distract us from something even bigger lurking behind the scenes? And listen, don't just watch this chaos unfold. Fuel it. Hit that like button if you think the truth is about to explode. Smash subscribe and turn on notifications. Because when Kendrick drops the name, when he finally points his finger, the internet won't just talk. It'll collapse under the weight of the scandal. Because this isn't just about an anime. It isn't just about K-pop. It isn't even just about Kendrick. It's about betrayal, power, and the art that shapes entire cultures. And when the truth finally comes out, no one, not Netflix, not the idols, not even Kendrick's inner circle will come out unscathed. The only question is, are you ready for the name?